I want to more focus on each word and each sentences. And of course, my perspective, more detail is difficult. But also, of course, maybe you can do more deeply to study. And I want to focus on more like kind of how it is on the book, this more word, sentences, structure of the sentences, a verse. And also there is something not clearly. You can immediately interrupt to me, then we can to talk, okay? And now we can continue. Here is the negative actions, or it is relate to the like a violation of the edicts by the Buddhas. And here is all the obscuration, whatever comes through the negative actions. There is one qualities, that is through the confessions we can to purify it. That is the only qualities. Otherwise, the negative kind of the actions consequence there's never good qualities. That is, it's true. And generally says that just negative actions it's difficult to say. It's like abstract names, like kind of plural, but maybe more to really to learn. What do you mean negative actions? Negative action, if you kill, and if you are stolen, you're doing there's 10 negative principally. And in the Buddhist perspective of the Buddhas, any kind of harm actions is very important things. And through the physically, through verbally, through mentally, whatever you doing some harming things, harmful actions, that is the negative actions. Why it is the logically we can to say why it is negative actions? Because it can make suffered. When we are harm or do negative things to others, maybe we don't know how much they're suffering, very difficult. For example, if you have some enemies, for example, your perspective, this your enemy, sick or die or problems, maybe you can't think, yeah, good, okay, die, sick. But then it's you return to compare yourself and to sick or to problems, then it's we are crying, we kind of the depressed, we are afraid. I don't want to to have this kind of how do you say, unpleasant circumstances. But that is the kind of the same others also. For example, someone's to make torture to ours, want to kill, want to criticize, and something doing negative things, how much we are suffering. Then this our mental sufferings is negative. This influence to other one surely is the consequence, negative infections, and then can occur. We do others harm, exactly. Also we can to have some influence. That is we need to study the many peoples, many even, of course, animals is how do you say, it's very difficult to understand others. When we look at the animal channels, when their families, they're taking care of each other very much, but they're killing to the others, they just kind of without dying half bodies, they're eating them, but they never concerning. But there's someone's to a little bad to them, the killer, like lion, tigers, they are run very much afraid, but they cannot compare They cannot example themselves. Exactly sometimes also human beings like this. When we do negative things to others, it's like kind of, and then we don't realize it. Oh, you killed? Yes. And then it's maybe other suffering. Yeah, maybe not, I don't know, but I did. Like kind of very proudly, very arrogantly, very much kind of. Sometimes even we say, yeah, today I give one harsh word to my my challenge, my like competitive. Then you kind of breathe, yeah, I give like kind of feeling you are happy, but it's a reality is not. Other ones hurted, other one is a cry, other ones slowly maybe want to revenge. And this is like kind of this negative action is why you say it's a negative. For example, killing, stealing. Stealing things, for example, if you stone, how much owners has a problem, like sufferings. For example, if someone's stolen your small things, how much you're angry, want to beat, want to kill to this person. You say, I lost, someone stolen my things. Like exactly like this. Then it's these 10 negative actions. Each one we can to look really to like a kind of the, if you're really great practitioners, to look each one. 10 negative actions. Why you call the negative? These actions is just normal, not normal. If you killing is not normal action, it's absolutely negative. And then each of these 10 negative, this is very important. We call that we are the Buddhist, but we don't know the really negative actions. For example, when we're killing insect, something is like small animals, and these things, when they are like something problems, we can, there's no doubt we are killing. But reality, any kind of like the being, living beings, they have family, they have partner, they have children. Even the insect, how much they have. Then if you kill father, if you kill mother, if you kill the partner, if you didn't, how much they also suffered. We can just say it's like some birds, when they lose families, then they so much sufferings, they make suicide. They have kind of the sufferings. It is amazing things like this concern. Therefore, it's like a negative actions we should to learn is very, very important. Sometimes we call the ours like a follower of the Buddha Dharma or Buddha. But action is sometimes, okay, if not harming things, then there's everything is we can to do, whatever we want. There's no kind of restrictions. That is very important to learn the negative actions. Be they extremely breaches of the patimoksha vows, inner transgressions of the bodhisattva training, or the secret violation of the tantric samayas, there is not one, however serious, that cannot be purified by confessions. And this is like kind of violation, like the Buddha's edicts, we can to say. And for example, like the externally breach and of the patimoksha vows. Of course, you are ordained monks. Like monks, there's 8 different type of the groups, and fully ordained, someone has like a kind of the 250, more than the, like kind of the discipline. If you keep all of them, you see, you are really few human beings, extraordinary. This is like kind of the external breaches of the patimoksha. Breach means you broken, and it's like kind of the you cup is a breach, like kind of the broken, or like a downfalls or violated this patimoksha's vow. Vow is like kind of commitment. Principally 10 negative actions, that is absolutely. Then there's different categorizations to all together more than the 250s. This we, of course, good persons to study. Generally speaking, in the basic, in the vows, like a kind of the 5, it's very, very important things are the, like a kind of the killings and stolen things, then sexual misconduct, alcoholic, and alcohol, like this sort of 5 principally. And then the other is like, then there's many different type of, some is very heavy, someone is like kind of more lesser, this sort of different type of the 250s. Everything is a patimoksha's vows. If you can keep, of course, wonderful. All of them is like a kind of the necessary for us sometimes. Then is inner transgressions of the bodhichitta trainings. Of course, inner transgression, inner like kind of the, if you are against it, the bodhisattva's training, like maybe bodhisattva's training, aspirations, bodhichitta's vows, or application bodhichitta's vows that we studied through in the Bodhicharya Avatara, and also before we studied a little bit. Principally, there is 18 vows, and like a kind of the inner transgressions of the bodhichitta's training is like resume into very important. We cannot to harm actions, any harming things to the sentient beings. We all the times to need help to concerning being. This is like more important. Of course, inner is the most important bodhicitta training. And then secret violations, violation against it of the tantric samayas. And principally, the samayas is like kind of related to your own teacher's body, speech, minds. And then, of course, there are, generally speaking, tantric like kind of samayas is like millions. And there are. And also it's quite a lot these things. And also this is like, if you are violated, it's like kind of the negative actions. There's not one. All and externally, patimoksha's vow, inner bodhisattva's training, and secret like tantric samayas, there's no existence. Some negative actions you cannot kind of the purified. There's no existence. See, and that all like kind of we can like kind of purified through the confession. That means cannot be purified by confession. There's no existence, any kind of this. If you really the confessions, you can to purify it like this. And there is that kind of the example. In the sutta, the Buddha tells several stories illustrating this point. For instance, there is the tale of the Brahm Ahisaka, who was known as Angulimala, is garland of the finger. Angulimala killed 999 people, but then cleansed himself of those actions through confession and attained state of the arhat in that very lifetimes. That is the wonderful. This is in Tibet, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's maybe way of the saying. Maybe Klopan Shambas and Kembos, they can correct. It's like it's like kind of in Tibet you look, there is like 9,000 19 like kind of the 9 something. It's in England, I think historically it's like kind of the 999, because it's like Angomala, he has wrong teachers, and he like kind of make, I think, fun him. If you killed 1,000 human beings, then you will be enlightenment. And something like this, then he continue kill. And then last moment, he want to kill the Buddhas, but he can't kill. And then he asked, I killed the 999, and very easily, but Gautama, I cannot kill you. And Buddha said, it's like, you cannot kill me, because I stopped harming to sentient beings, some in this age, he said. And then he says, what do you think my path? If I kind of kill 1,000 humans, I will be enlightened man. Then Buddha said, you kill 1,000 human beings, you go direct to hell. Then it's like a kind of, then he changed Angomala, and then he want to follow. And this maybe, this one we can to ask Lopan Shamba or Matong Gudja Kogan, Matong Gudja Kogan, Sepayons. Okay, anyway, this is problem in Tibetans, it's like this. And Angomala's history, they say this, he killed the human 9,999, yeah. Okay, for example, how much he killed, he did this kind of negative actions. Of course, he is like kind of violation externally, patimochas. His violated inner bodhisattva turnings. Of course, it is, you can look the really in the secret mantrayanas. If you kill some animals or sentient beings, you are really kind of the killing the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, because the mantrayanas perspective, sentient beings as Ndaka and Ndakinis. And then it's in this perspective how much negative action. But he really like kind of the confessed depth of his heart, and really serious, determinedly, and confessed. Then is purified. He's achieved in that life. Is like arhat. The arhat, different arhat. Maybe like not perfect arhat. Maybe it's like a Shavaka Pachik Buddha's as arhat. And like this, there is also the case of the king, Ajata Sharatu. I don't know, this sounds difficult to say. And Mashidasi in Tibet, to kill his father, but later repaid his crime through confession and attained liberation. Having experienced the suffering of hell, only for the time it is take a silicon ball to bounce once. That just to easily understand, this Ashoka said, Ashoka or the Ajata Shutu Ashurata to, I don't know, this the Mashi does is really he killed his father because he wanted to become quickly king. And then of course we understand this, he's killing the father, it is the worst negative actions. It's like kind of the immediate retribution. And that immediately he go to the Vaja health. And he understood that, and sometimes he's on the throne or something, he remembered that sometimes he felt unconsciousness. And he says so much like kind of afraid. And then one day it's like Buddha, he understood that he came to turn good way. He sent one monk and nearby there, and he said, you should to recite, best virtue is to kill the father and mothers. You recite that. And he went to near this king Ashoka's, Mashidas. And then it's like recited that says, best virtues, you should kill your mother and fathers. He heard that, oh, where is this teaching? And then he said, it's teaching Buddhas. Then he came to and Buddha, and some your monks recite that it is good. And then Buddha said, yes, that is. And then it's finally, this is like, of course, obedience teaching. And then it's, what do you mean? This mean is like you should to kill your like kind of craving and attachment. It's craving and attachment is the make rebirth of the in the samsara. That attachment and craving is like kind of representative your father and mother. If you kill that one, then you never reborn again samsara. Finally, the meaning, really meaning is that, but he first to enrich, to connect to the Buddha, and this monk recite like this. Then after he's confessed, through his regret, he confessed, then he like attained liberation. Having extreme like suffering of the hell only. Of course, he killed the father, and that's like the negative action is the immediate retribution. But he need to go to hell, but silky ball to bone, like a kind of the bounce thought, just to like one moment to be dead, but immediately liberated from this hell. And like this, and there is a quotation, Protect Nagarjuna says, someone who has acted carelessly, but later become careful and attentive, is as beautiful as the bright moon emerging from the clouds. And like Nanda, Agulimala, and Dashika, and Shankaras. And this story there is. This is like kind of the wonderful quotations. And here said is like the someone who has acted carelessly. Of course, maybe we are like kind of young, and sometimes like kind of we are healthy, beauty or handsome, sometimes like nothing, no problem. We are very much careless. And according to carelessly, we do sometimes negative actions. Then it's slowly maybe like attentively, really it's like kind of, then we are become careful, and later like become careful and attentive. Attentive is very important, and it's like kind of the in Tibet denbas, to have the attentive or attentive. Attentively, whatever you do things, then become the perfect. Then you are changing your like kind of the behaviors, habit. Maybe before you kill, maybe you like later you become the attentive person, and then you stop, you become more compassionate. Maybe it's like you are before liar, cheater, stolen, but maybe it's like slowly you changed, you understand, you more give education to yourself, you become more like kind of attentive person. And then it's like a kind of the become more extraordinary. And like this, that this is the very much beautiful bright moon emerging from the clouds. First time is a lot of obscuration of the negative things. Negative like carelessly doing these things, but slowly changing process. Then you become like kind of the moon is emerging from the cloud. This sort of history in the ancient times, of course in Tibet, for example, like kind of many, even the very famous in the Kagyu tradition, Jetsa Malaripa is like this. He was young times, he killed many beings. And then is later he confessed, he's really entered into the Dharma, rely on the great teacher Mava. He's like be enlightenment, and that his life like this. In India, it's like kind of the Nanda, Angomala, Dashika, and the Shankara. This his stories most. Of course, someone is already in the word of my perfect teacher. Maybe you can do more to kind of to find. And Angolmala is already we are like above how we become our heart, And also it's like Gabo is, I think is most time he has such desire attachment, and then it's problems, and later he like can become serious and he attain something. And also Tonden, this Dashika and Shankara, I think is like kind of first is like a not Buddhist. He's very much the like kind of the no Buddhist practitioner and something. And then finally I think is there is some Buddhist master made, and he changed and extraordinary become like even the teacher or something. And like this his stories, maybe you can to more look, and not necessarily to look more. It's like it's take a lot of time, but maybe short to example. And here is the example. Sometimes we says, yeah, I did a lot of negatives. Then it's I'm just like this. Then anyway, it's like a kind of I'm like kind of evil person. That is not good. It's like you certainly to change. Like what you did negative things is you can confess, purify to them. You can become the perfect person. Like this, sometimes our West lost like our self-confidence. I'm like kind of against God. I'm against like this. I'm evil. Okay, whatever I do. This is like losing self-confidence. Not good. And we need to like kind of raising ourselves. Okay, before I'm careless, before I young and like a little bit kind of silly, I did many things, but I will want to confess, I will do. And this is not necessarily regret again and again. Regret is a very important to confess. That is the most important. Here's the message. However, purification only takes place when you confess sincerely in the right way, using the full power as the antidote. And also this is like kind of the only take place. That is the most important. There's like kind of maybe one place take place means is rely on the like four powers of the antidote. That is we are going to more study. And most important things is like sincerely, honestly, really to yes, I done like this and that. This is the second. Third one is very important. Sometimes we have like, oh, in the past I did, I confessed, purified. Now maybe I will do sometime, but it's okay. Maybe current you need to do, I will do later, I will confess. And because it's like a negative, I can confess. This is like a third, is take place. You cannot do that. That you need. In the future, is like kind of the solutions. You should really, you think is never I do again. These three is very important. It's like in order to purify our negative actions, the consequence of the obscurations. Like first take place, you confess sincerely. And second, rely on the four powers, antidote. Third, maybe is like never ever do again in the futures. Like this is take place. Then these three things more than, and of course there are other, but it's like kind of, we can do purely purification or purified. And then it's like purification process will never work if your eyes and mouth are otherwise occupied, or if you are just mouthing the words I admit, I confess, while your mind is busy pursuing other thoughts. That is the truth. One is like confessions to take the like and only take the place, and sincerely. Sincerely means it is not kind of the distracted like your mouth and your eyes. And like kind of the eyes looking around different. You are not looking the Vajrasattva or the thinking. And also it's like mouth is like, your mouth is like, but maybe it's like not reality. You are not kind of really properly to pronounce. And also it's like the mind is maybe also other occupied. Therefore it's like eyes occupied, not Vajrasattva, maybe some croissant, maybe it's some ice cream, or maybe some is the different things. And the mouth is like kind of the occupied, different gossips, and talking this and that, these things. Mind is no meditation, no kind of the concentrations and thinking different. This kind of occupied it, or if you are choose to mothingly to word to say it doesn't work. It's really like this means. And also you say admit, it's like kind of the I want to really confess, and it's like kind of admired, I want to like kind of in the you say I admired, I confess, I admired, I confess. It's just motively it doesn't, it works. It's we really need in the sincerely, in the honestly, and also it's like to remember that these 4 powers, like 4 powers, maybe we can do letters to study the power of the support, the power of the like to close, to power of the like a kind of the future don't do, the power of the like kind of the rely on the antidote something. But anyway, later we can do more, each one is we can to study together, and like this. And it's like a third one, so more important things to take place, he says, and to think in the future, even if I do wrong, it won't matter, because I can choose to confess afterwards. Will stop the purification from working at all. Even if you do confess, that is the very important things. Today I like, okay, I confess on the past my negative things, and now I purified. It's exactly the same. Okay, today I'm doing it, but later I can to method I will do again like confessions, and then I can. If you have this idea, this kind of the motivations, then your confessions doesn't work at all. And he says it doesn't work, and then it's like cannot purify the obscurations. Therefore, it is never have ideas, or today I can do negative things, but tomorrow I will confess to them. It's okay. This sort of course, this kind of very much to mentioned here. We have often sometimes ideas like this. Someone says, today I need to do that, but maybe tomorrow I will confess, recite few Vajrasattvas. That is not very good. That's maybe more negative actions. You know that, and here it said it's like you then is excuse this kind of like a confession processes like Buddha did. It says it's like I can to purify the negative action, whatever I done on the past. It's exactly the same. Today I can do, tomorrow surely I'm not died, I will do again confess. Then it's this kind of attitudes you cannot confess, you cannot purify it, and you can't do confess it. It's a purification from the working at all, even if you do confess. And Dzogchen Ranyak says, you may doubt that confession can really purify negative action, but if your thoughts have become positive, you are purified. And that is like kind of, if you really want to wish, or like kind of to purify it, and he said, you may doubt, and like kind of, really is like confessions, It can purify it, really purify these negative actions. Yes, if you really to like kind of the thinking the positive. That means it's like your thoughts become like positive, means it's like in the future I never ever do again and negative things. This you need in the moment when you confess. And like this, okay, today I confess, purified whatever I done, but okay, this afterwards, okay, I need to do something, negative things, but it's okay. Tomorrow I will confess. This sort of is the negative thoughts. Then it doesn't purify it. If you have the like kind of never I do again, like a big kind of solution, like rely on the antidote, then 100% is purified. They are purified. And then it's like maybe we can to say it's absolutely fundamental that any confessions should include it as the antidote all of the 4 powers. Any kind of the confessions, like kind of the purifications, is needed the 4 powers. Maybe that means rely on the VAJRASATTVA, maybe any kind of the like kind of when you are meditate. For example, if you practice Rinzendrupa, Yumka, or even that you like kind of the practice the like Jut, Machi Ladun, and any kind of you rely on the deity and like kind of visualizations, all the time is kind of the 4 powers. It is very important. Or the any kind of aspect of the accumulation merit, I would to say, accumulation is the positive actions. Positive actions, the purpose of doing the positive actions, want to purify the obscurations. And obscuration is like kind of, in order to purify the obscurations is through the confessions. And then is the different like kind of the methods entrance. But any kind of entrance or the methods all the time is enhanced by, embraced by the 4 powers. It is the very important. Then is the first powers, the 4 powers or the power, and here's the 4 powers are the power of the support. Power of the support is that power of the support is like kind of in support means it's like a evidence, proof, and like kind of the your like a kind of the front summons, and you're like kind of the evidence, like this support. Here is like maybe we can to say the VAJRASATTVA. Then power of the regretting having done wrong. And that is like such a power. Sometimes it's like we say, I done some negative things. I don't want to express that one because very embarrassed things. And if you are hiding something, then it's not like kind of the power of the regretting having done it wrong. And really in the front of the power of the support, we need to reveal and to tell, to say, in the life and lifetimes of the past, whatever we done, the negative things, we say we want to confess. In this life, I remembered I did this and that, or whatever you remembered. This is like kind of confess. And some ancient times, really, like some students, they done such a kind of negative things. Then they go to their own root teachers, and then they reveal everything. And I did this, I done that, everything is to say. There's nothing kind of secret. And then is they confess. This sort of, like for example, Jetsen Malaripa, he met first Marva. And then it's like Marva say, why you coming to here? He said, then I am like a sing person. And I did this and that, many negative things. And then it's Marva said, are you a complaint to me? You don't need to complain to me, you need to complain yourself. But of course, Milarepa saying is like kind of the regretting having done wrong the front of his teachers. Reality, of course, Marvalotsa is very happy and like this. This is like kind of the second power. And third power of the resolutions. Resolution is like kind of the really in the future, I want to stop. I never do again. This is positive thoughts. Really, that is the really third power of the resolution. And then the power of the antidote, action as an antidote. That means in the future, when we are journeying, we are going through, like when we have any kind of want to do negative actions, you immediately to like kind of remember like each antidote and then avoid any negative. That is antidote, that is the action, that is the power of the fourth, which is the like kind of the actions to really to avoid the negative actions like this. Then we have more. Today there's no question, yes? Today's we not studied. You immediately you have questions? No. Tomorrow, okay? Only tomorrow. Today's no questions. Because you didn't study it, and then how you can ask the questions? Random question, yes? Okay. Yeah. Okay, a little bit later we can to say, okay, maybe, yeah, good question. And now is that we can to go continue. Maybe it's just the power of the support. This is power of the support, which is like kind of which one is like evidence to be. In this context, in this the explanation in this chapter, support is provided by the taking refuge in Vajrasattva and cultivating the intention and application aspect of the bodhicittas. Yeah, and the bodhicittas, absolutely. Bodhicitta of the intention, bodhicitta of the applications, these two aspects. This is the principle, like combine this like kind of taking refuge in the Vajrasattva. That means it's like Vajrasattva is the source of the refugee, and the support of in the confessions, and therefore in here is provided our like the support is the Vajrasattva. It's the same taking refuge in Vajrasattva, exactly the same. Cultivating is like kind of generating the bodhicitta. Aspiration, the intention is aspiration is the same mean, like kind of the I want to, my wish, may all sentient beings to be free from suffering, may all sentient beings to achieve the happiness, may I want to do that. Only myself I want to work, benefit for sentient beings. This is intention or aspirations. And application is means like kind of apply the bodhicitta's activities during the meditation of the Vajrasattvas. And you just have action of the generosity, discipline, patience, diligent, like meditative concentration and so wisdoms. And like same times when you are like kind of the taking refuge in the Vajrasattva, and also you need this intention application aspect of the bodhicitta's actions. And also it's like in other case, the support would be the particularly object who wish you address your confessions. And that means it's like any kind of another's like someone addressed, it's like and to, how do you say, some like a follow, or some others like there is, maybe it's like according the 5 Buddha families, maybe Vajrasattva is more connected to the Vajra family, any kind of other deities, and also it's like the Rinna family, Pema family, Karma families, and the Berochana families, any kind of families, deities, there's many. For instance, we say in our traditions, like if you practice Rinzan Dupa, Guru Rinpoche, Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddhas, Tara and the Tara, just in Dharma, and Buddha medicine, and this any kind of another object which is you address your confession, that is like kind of the power or the support. For instance, here is like this, recite the confession of the sutta in 3 parts, or the sutta of the 3 hips, is like our translation, we say is like this. We are recite the before sir. That is like more confession sadhana, the recite. And this sort of, there are many different texts, and here is like kind of, we have like kind of the example, the power of the purpose is the provided by the 35 Buddhas. In the Sutta of the 3 hips, inside is mentioned there are the like 35 Buddhas. These 35 Buddhas are the, each one, all of them are the power of the support. And from of these 35 Buddhas, then we confess through this kind of the word of the confession word. It is like kind of the first prostrating and confess and the dedications. This is the 3 hips. And like this, and then of course there is another also, it's possible, and also it could also be a teacher. The front of your teacher is the like the power of the support. Then you can to confess like from that, or the representation of the body, speech or mind of the Buddha, like body is the statues, and speech of the Dharma, and the mind is like any kind of Buddhas, the like kind of the stupas. And this kind of any like kind of representation of the Buddhas, body, speech, mind, and from that is you can to like take the power of the support. In the short, anyone or anything in who is presented, you confess it. And any kind of, anyone or anything is like kind of the Buddha's bodies, like representation of the body, speech, the mind, any. This sort of, and then is you can to take the power of the like support, you can confess from that. And also it's like next one says, before any confessions, arousing the bodhichitta of the intention, and this is like the aspiration bodhichitta, and then it's like a second application, it is like indispensable. This is when we are rely on the purification of the Vajrasattva, indispensable, and like these things or the necessity is the bodhichitta. Intention and applications is very, very important. And before that we are like kind of the recite this confession, the bodhisattvas, how to say, the Vajrasattva sadhana, we need to generate bodhicitta, intention, application, as I said before. This is the indispensable. Okay, now I'm a little bit sleeping. If you have some questions. Yeah, you put it now as questions. Why? Can you open? Who has? If you have questions, like you do like this.
Good morning. Do you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I have one question. If, for example, a person would like to visualize his Vajrasattva as his teacher in human form, should he add some Vajrasattva's attributes, for example, veil and Vajra, or just visualize the normal form without attributes? Thank you.
But if your teachers, whatever he has attribute, and then is that maybe if you like your teachers holding one ice cream, also you are meditate on that. Maybe sometimes maybe your teachers holding the Vajra and bill. That times you can to make picture, then more easy. The Vajra and bill is quite very important, okay, to have that.
Okay, thank you.
And other? And this Vajra and bills are there's extraordinary like symbolic. Vajrasattva is also is like a embodiment of the 100 deities, and therefore, and this attribute is also is like a lot of representative, and maybe that is like a kind of the insurpassable attitude. Maybe that is more easy make joke if you visualize like as a person this is holding is okay, and like this, okay, then it's maybe there's a okay.
We have questions from YouTube.
Otash delil.
Kiran tozuk devoin.
Devoin, che devoin.
Actually, this one question about this is pictures. Is okay?
Very good. Then when you are practice self Vajrasattva exactly like this, okay, fantastic.
Maybe better, yeah.
And this is good for, we can talk later, but one is Vajrasattva and consort melted to you. And before you purification timers, I think it's better to both consort. And of course, sometimes making kind of problems is a little bit kind of make disturbing emotions. And then you can to visualize only and the Vajrasattva. It's okay, love. Yes. And what do you have questions?
Rinpoche Dina Razai says, thank you very much, Rinpoche. How to clean something if I don't remember it? How to apply regret here? For example, if I was doing bad things in other lives, how does it work?
That is like you can to say on whatever I done negative actions in my past life and lifetimes is included. Of course, it's like you are right, difficult to like on the past life what we done, absolutely we can't remember. But even in this life, sometimes we done something is completely forgotten. But in the sincerely, you can to say, I won't confess any I done since when I enter into the samsara or to reborn in this world, or anyway, it's done harmful things. I confess that this included.
Thank you. Someone asks to explain more about black, red, and white, very tiny habitual obscurations, how they obscure our mind.
And this is like a kind of the scientific perspective. It's like a kind of the molecule. and very, very tiniest perspective. And it's like a kind of the when we obtain the body, like reborn, and mind itself has nothing particles. It's but in the through the mind can appear the body speech. And the mind it's like this, the mind, this kind of is subtle, there's lever. And this is like we call the tiniest obscuration of the habitual tendencies. Maybe we can to talk more later, okay?
Sorry, what was the question? Because we cannot hear the question.
And the question is, there's three kind of the doubts: white, red, blue. I said this is the subtle habitual tendencies. It can be cured in order to like to be at the Buddhas. How it can obscure these three things? But these three is like subtle obscurations can obscure to the in order to be enlightenment, Buddhahood. We can to talk more later. Okay, Ada?
Marco says, is there anything special purifying in the mantra sound? If so, then all sounds are purifying, or is it one pointed concentration when chanting mantra that purifies?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes. Is there anything special purifying in the mantra sound? If so, then all sounds are
we are now
purifying.
talking about this sound, or it's like VAJRASATTVA you recite, maybe sound can purify it. Yes? Yes, that's all. Answer.
Thank you. And the last question, what is the fastest way of purification?
VAJRASATTVA mantra. Honestly. Not kind of occupied your mouth and eye or mind. And that's all. Okay, answer is that's all. Okay, then we can continue. We can to stop today. Today we can to stop there. Okay, la. Thank you. I didn't prepare this morning something. And thank you very much. I think it's this time Slopan Shambas also it's like he's going to, I want to listen, he's going to teaching and in English, and then is of course Kembo no problem. And also is you maybe this when you are on attend to this course, maybe you should to study. Is this time is like a kind of, I'm not teaching, we are like kind of family situations. From my perspective, that you don't need the faith, you don't need the devotion, you don't need to any, but we are family situations, like we are suggestion each other. You study yourself. If there's the one you listened, if I make some mistake, you immediately to put notes to there, immediately interrupted. If there's something benefit, that is the most important, okay? If I'm like say many different things, maybe it's useless, maybe more focus on the text, and each like kind of we can to do like this. And also it's like maybe during this retreat, or you are like really to want to study, maybe this is take not much, 4 days or 5 days. We have this days like very yourself to be disciplined, diligent, and focus on to study. Then after 4 or 5 days you are free, then maybe in the future more easy remember, more benefit. Okay, thank you. And sonam do tomche zupanya tomini pidana pamji heganachi walam tupa sapun solin dokan drova sho shoncha senchu Rinpoche mahi panam heje Hipa nyamba me paton kone kondam perwa sho konri darvi korvi hien kansa pendo deva malin joman Hien ren zing tenzan janso yi happy senti par de tenjerji pardan lami kase temato kanyon la de hien jong dao yen malu tso so de yon ne nyor do sonji salango par cho lasso bonapati.
33 Rosa, die Blume, Lunge, Luisa, and Sanity, and